Welcome back to all my wonderful, faithful viewers. I'm so incredibly happy to be back in action and back with you here on YouTube. And to all the new faces, of which there are many, welcome to Wren Haven. I'm Jenna. Thank you so much for subscribing. And today I'm going to be sharing a vlog style compilation / overview of what I've been harvesting and preserving here while I was supposed to be resting and recuperating. And there's a little tour of my canning pantry if you stay to the end. To get everyone caught up, I haven't been able to talk for a couple weeks, first from oral surgery and then from a nasty seasonal funk that really knocked me on my rear. In the meantime, I've been busy in the garden and with canning projects. For those of you who are new, I'm located in a major urban area, but our Victorian sits on a very unique half-acre property, and I'm able to have a decent-sized garden, about 30 by 25 feet, that I created and maintain with no dig methods. This was my first year growing celery with the intent of having enough to preserve and to hopefully get us through the winter to the next gardening season, and it has been a wild success in my opinion. These were nursery bought starts, but from the supposed 6-pack of little plants that I bought, there were actually 15 plants in there once I separated the double and triple seedlings. So in the end, all of this gorgeous celery only cost me about $4 for the starts and minimal time and energy watering them over the summer. If you're new to gardening, please realize that you can have great success from nursery started plants. Despite what you may see online, you do not have to start everything from seed yourself to be successful, so don't let that stop you from trying if you want to learn to garden. These carrots were started way back in the early spring, and despite some pest damage, I'm very pleased with how many I was able to harvest and preserve. And I even found a little woolly bear in the carrot top jungle. Local lore in the Northeast says that more black fuzz means we are in for a longer winter. The way squirrels have been acting around here with their somewhat frantic seeming nut storage, that may very well be true. Though as long as I've lived up here, every winter seems to be predicted to be the worst winter on record. This was my first time growing onions, and since I wasn't sure what I was doing, I didn't go full tilt, but only planted a few, and while none of them will win any state fair prizes for size, they taste fantastic, and I even had enough to do some onion braiding. This gives me motivation to try to grow a lot more next year, and I'll probably try to plant them in a spot where they get a bit more sun, as they struggled a little in the part shade. My squash harvest was very good, and I am so grateful to have some beautiful butternut squash to store over winter and enjoy when it's cold and wintry outside. Early on, I saw some squirrel mischief with my pumpkins and got some pumpkin chainmail to protect them. These are wire mesh bags. I will link them below. They got them from Amazon, and I just used a zip tie to close them around the neck of the pumpkin. But I didn't have enough for all my pumpkins and squash, so some of these did need to be preserved right away to save them. They just seem to take a little nibble and move on, but it can be a real problem and prevent them from storing well. Throughout this video, you're hopefully hearing me repeatedly express my gratitude for different things, and these amazing crows are one of them. They spend a lot of time around our property because we have some of the biggest trees around, and they know they're welcome here, and we really benefit from the way that they drive away sky predators and help Thor keep our chickens safe. This pumpkin was absolutely stunning, but it was also the only one I got from 6 plants, and the New England pie pumpkins far outperform when it comes to the dense, sweet, firm flesh that they have compared to this particular pumpkin. So as fun as it was to grow a big beauty like this, I likely won't do so again. Clearing the garden in fall is always a bit bittersweet, but I'm so grateful to live in a place where we have seasons, for ends and new beginnings, for the opportunity to let the earth rest and recuperate so she can rejuvenate for a new gardening season. I'm so grateful for my beautiful chickens. They're sweet and funny and incredibly helpful, and the way they turn just about anything into pure nutrition in the form of eggs is truly miraculous to me. I've kept chickens for over 25 years and it never ceases to amaze me. I'm also so grateful that I had the forethought to put these huge compost bins in place and to make them accessible to the girls so they can help me turn waste into beautiful nutrient-dense compost for my gardens.
Oh, really? You're beautiful. You're so pretty. You're a beautiful girl.
And here's the thing, I think it is so easy to express gratitude when everything is going well. When you have your health, when the people you love are doing well, and when all seems right in the world. But in times when we are facing enormous challenges, whether personal or on a larger scale, it can be much harder to turn your mind toward gratitude and to recognize everything we do have. So I'm using this video to remind myself of some of the things I'm genuinely grateful for and that I do not want to take for granted. I'm grateful for my cheap but useful little greenhouse that lets me extend my gardening season and do things like cure squash and onions for storage, as well as shelter tender perennials like rosemary and young roses through our tough winters. Those damaged squashes that I showed you, like I said, I needed to get them canned immediately, so that's what I did after they'd been cured. I'm grateful I've taken the time to pointedly acquire the skill set of canning and preserving food, and that I've listened to my instincts, which tell me that having food on hand for more than just winter storms is important in these turbulent times. Our grandparents lived this way, and I personally feel it's time to start intentionally leaning into that way of life again. My leek harvest was tragic. I unfortunately did not catch in time that there was some kind of a pest destroying the crop. And if you know what this is, let me know. I'm leaning toward onion root fly. Again, I'm grateful that it didn't get all of my alliums. My garlic was okay, my onions were okay. I'm gonna have to really keep an eye on this next year though. I didn't grow beets this year. These are from Azure Standard and I already canned half of them up, but you can see that some of them are getting a little soft, so I really needed to get the rest of these put in jars, which I did. And I think that I have enough beets to get me through to next year now. And now I want to welcome you to my canning pantry. This little room makes me so happy. It is where I store all of my home canned goods and a few other things. And see, this basket is some of the New England pie pumpkins that are finishing curing. It did get very cold outside and I needed to bring some of these in. I won't store them piled on top of each other like this if you're worried about that. You can see I have a big bag of potatoes next to them. I need to go through those and can some of them up and store some of them fresh. There are my braided onions, and then way up at the top there are my carrots. I did have 20 pints, but we already dipped into them a little bit. I'm not gonna tell you everything that's on my shelves because it's not that kind of a video, but I wanted to give you a glimpse of what's in here. If you wonder what I do with all of those eggs my beautiful girls lay, well, here are some of them. These are room temperature stored eggs in pickling lime. Then up top here, I've got a combination of vegetables, fruit, and canned protein. Here's the squash that I showed you I had canned. And yes, on the left, that is pureed squash. I am very well aware of what the USDA says about that, so please understand that I have considered this process carefully and I'm comfortable doing it the way that I can it. On the right-hand side, I have more like tomato products, and there's some canned potatoes there. And these are the beets, the first round of the beets that I showed you. And after this, I added those other beautiful canned beets to this collection. While I don't intend for this to become a canning and gardening channel, this is a big part of my life. This is just something that I do. And there's nothing to me quite like looking at a pantry full of food that you have canned yourself. Thank you again for being so patient and loyal and understanding that sometimes life just doesn't go as scripted. I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are. and I will see you all again in the next video.